Wrestling Roundup. FreeFM 89.0, you're with Grady Hooker. We're going to do a little different this episode. We're not going to have any This Day in History or birthdays. We've got an interview with NZWPW female wrestler Amy St. Clair instead. Have a listen. So, Amy, for the listeners who haven't seen you in New Zealand, could you describe yourself to them?
My name's Amy St. Clair, and I wrestle in the NZWPW in Lower Hutt. And I'm from England, and I've been wrestling just under a year. And I had my first debut match in December.
Okay. So you haven't been wrestling for too long.
No, I haven't. I'm a rookie. I'm very, very new to the scene.
Yeah.
But it's my main passion. I go out there and give it all I've got, and it really is what I love to do. So.
Yeah, I'd seen a match of yours with a Lolly Lane.
Yes.
That did impress me.
Oh, really?
So I am happy to meet you, be able to speak with you tonight.
I'm happy to speak with you too.
Yeah, I'm over in America.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, that match with Lolly happened, I think, back in February. I think the ones we're talking about. Probably February, March time. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Even though I was unsuccessful, it was still. I think the best thing about it is the reaction I get from the crowd. It's very fulfilling, rewarding, in that sense.
Okay. What inspired you to go do wrestling?
Well, funnily enough, my family hates wrestling. So I'm really the odd one out in my family. But I got into it when I was 14, and I just started watching it, and then, I just thought, well, I'm old enough, why not start doing it?
Yeah.
So I met up with Martin Sterling, who's the owner of NZWPW, and that was last year in June.
Okay.
And I'm 17 now, so I was 16 when I started.
Okay. Was there a particular superstar or diva that you saw as inspiration?
Yes. Maurice is my all-time favorite. I just love the attitude she has, and she brings out to the ring. And she doesn't even need to say anything. You just look at her and you hate her. And that was the main thing I loved about Maurice. And probably for males, Chris Jericho, just because he's so cocky. I love it. Like, I'm quite a big fan of the heels. But yeah, Chris Jericho is definitely one who stood up for me.
Okay.
I did notice the Maurice when I watched the Battle Royal that they had posted online, because I did notice the hand gesture during the match.
Yeah, that comes out sometimes a little bit. I do it just out of habit now. But the Maurice thing, I think it does come out a bit in my character. So she's just, Amy is basically someone who is too good for everyone else, and you wish you were like her. So yeah. I get quite a lot of compliments on my ring gear, actually. I think, my ring gear kind of looks a lot like it's pretty much based off Maurice's. Because I've got some new stuff now, which I wore last Saturday, and it's black stuff, and it's pretty much just because she's basically, Maurice is my idol, pretty much. Well, she's one of the people who made me want to start wrestling, and I just want to kind of incorporate that into my character a bit. So
Do you know where do you see yourself in a couple of years?
I really want to wrestle overseas. I do want to go to WWE at some time, or eventually. I wish to go there, but I do understand that the competition in WWE is very, very challenging, and even for TNA, it's very challenging. A lot of people want it as well, so I've really got to up my game with that. But hopefully I'll be able to wrestle in Australia, maybe, just as a starting point.
Yep.
But I don't want to go too far into it. I'm just aim for Australia, and then when I get there, see what else happens from there.
Okay. Is there a particular match you've had so far in your career that you find as a favourite?
Favorite match? Probably favorite match so far would have to be me versus Misty, who's also from NZWPW. I find wrestling Misty, we have a kind of connection in the ring, and it's really. I've heard Bruno Becker say that as well, who's one of the trainers, or he trains us, and he said that we have a very good connection together. And Misty's been wrestling for 6 years or so, and I've been wrestling, haven't even been wrestling a year, but we work. We've been told we can work and match quite decently together, and she's one of my preferred people to work with. So that happened on March 16th in Wainumata. So yeah, probably that match. But I've been getting a lot more moves, or like new moves into my segments, so in my moveset and stuff. So probably moves wise, I'd have to go in the last match I just did, because I pulled off an enziguri in that. It's the first one I did.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. So moves wise, I'd have to go with the last one just because I really like enziguris. And I'm quite a kicky person. I like to kick. So yeah.
There's nothing quite like a good enziguri kick.
It just gives you the rush. So yeah, definitely that. And in a way, I'm kind of sad because I've been made heel now, and I kind of like being a face just because of the moves, like all the flippy stuff I get to do and everything. So, but because I started off as a face, and I was doing like monkey flips and head scissors and everything, but I can't do that anymore. So I just like to do lots and lots of kicks now. So yeah.
Okay, have you seen any other female wrestlers in New Zealand that you think you'd like to go up against?
Evie. Or like Evie, Megan, Kate, Brittany, and Olivia Shaw. Just all those IPW girls. Why not?
Yeah.
They're awesome. I love those girls. I've never met any of them in person before. I've met James Shaw. I see James Shaw quite a lot. He comes down to all our shows we have.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to meet Olivia, and definitely Evie and Megan Kate, I probably have to say, the two girls, heel and face, that I idolise in New Zealand wrestling.
Yeah.
For the girls. But it would be like an honour for me to just meet those girls, all of them.
Okay.
I love watching their matches, and I watch pretty much all of them, and it's just good to see that, especially Evie, because she's been to America, she's been to Shimmer, she's been to Shine, and Brittany, Megan, Kate, and Evie all go to Australia, and Evie's champion.
Yeah.
So, or she has been champion. So it's just kind of proving that they come from New Zealand and they are making something of themselves.
Yeah.
And they really are like an inspiration to me. So I look up to all those girls quite a lot.
That's all you get for now. You'll get the second part later on. For now, we'll go to our classic entrance theme of the week. It's Leaders, Love, Fury, Passion, Energy. That was Leaders' entrance theme. I'm back now with Josh.
Howdy.
And we'll talk about what happened on Raw to start it off. What do you think of Ryback coming out in the ambulance?
Well, I mentioned last week that I felt a more violent match was coming between them. But an ambulance match is not what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking along the lines of a match that's only occurred 3 times in WWE history.
And that is?
The 3 stages of hell match.
Okay.
I really feel that would be probably the most violent way to go, and would probably be the one way that you could guarantee somebody's winning that match.
Fair enough. Up after that was the tag team match between The Miz and Jericho, taking on Barrett and Fandango.
It was a good match. Seems to be setting up a 3-way feud here. Between Miz, Barrett, and Fandango. Seems to be trying to phase Jericho out of the Fandango program.
Yeah.
Best part of the match for me, though, was at the end after the match with Summer Rae and Chris Jericho dancing. And then it looks like they're going to kiss, and then Jericho throws up the Maurice hand sign and just walks off.
Yep.
Which was hilarious to me since Miz was his partner and is engaged to Maurice.
Yeah. Connections. The next segment was Vicky Guerrero pushing the WWE app to everybody in the crowd and at home.
Yes. Just for the record, we hate it too.
Yeah. Pretty sure everybody hates it.
Yeah.
Of course, neither...
At this point,
oh, no, you go.
At this point, I think they would be better off. I think people like Tout more than the app right now.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Okay. Well, neither member of Team Hell No are the tag team champions.
I'm not the tag team champions. You're not the tag team champions. We are not the tag team champions. I feel naked without the belts.
Yeah. And, okay, the match...
And then Kane points out that he's not wearing shirts or pants.
Yeah. Then the next match was actually Sheamus taking on Titus O'Neil.
Filler. I will say this. I'm glad that Titus lasted longer than a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a complete domination by Sheamus.
No, it didn't have too much reason behind the match either, but...
No, just... I think at this point, Sheamus is so far down on the card now that they really don't know what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, as we see further in SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, the probably most interesting moment of the night came up next with Paul Heyman and his new client.
I did not see this coming, but when he came out, I went nuts. I loved Michael McGillicuddy. I just didn't I knew that he had issues with speaking on the mic to gather people's attention. But I knew he had talent. And I knew he had potential.
Yep.
But I was always frustrated that he was never on television. Being put with Paul Heyman and his new character as Curtis Axel is going to do wonders for this guy.
Yeah, it's great they actually acknowledge his lineage now.
And that he came out to a theme song that was remixed from his dad's.
Yeah.
And that was the ultimate moment for me for him. It just... Because I was such a huge Mr. Perfect fan when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect was probably the greatest in-ring wrestler in the history of wrestling, which is saying something because he was just that good.
Yeah. Triple H ends up interrupting him, and Curtis Axel and Triple H end up having a match later on.
When they announced the match, I was a little worried because of Triple H's reputation. But at the same time, I was ecstatic because that meant that Curtis Axel was going one-on-one with a 13-time world champion.
Yep.
And not somebody like Sin Cara.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we'll talk more about that when we get down to the match. But next up was Alberto Del Rio taking on Big E Langston.
I put out a question after the match. So does this mean that Big E is now the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship? Because I mean, it was all right for what it was, but I was happy to see Big E get the win, but logically it didn't make quite much sense until I realized they're doing a program with Langston because Ziggler obviously can't be there.
Yeah, I think that concussion for Ziggler has ruined quite a few plans.
Yeah, but at the same time, it gave us the Shield wearing gold.
Yeah.
All three members.
Okay, well.
So I can't really complain that much about it.
Yeah. Up next was a Divas match with AJ Lee taking on Layla.
I love that submission finisher. That it looks. Oh God, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
I did make a comment though. Layla wasn't tapping out. She just wanted to thank AJ.
Yeah. That Black Widow definitely looks like something that could.
Yeah. It definitely looks like something out of the Attitude Era and the PG era.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is probably a good point to jump to our current entrance theme of the week. We just talked about him. It's Curtis Axel's theme, which is Perfection Remixed. That was Curtis Axel's remix of Perfection. I'm still back here with Josh.
Oh.
And the match where we left off is Zack Ryder taking on Cody Rhodes.
At least Rhodes won the match.
Yeah.
I'm still not quite sure what's going on with him because for some reason he dropped off the face of the planet over the last year and a half when you expected him to get up to the top.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Ryback, when he took Ryder off, dropped him off in a lake off somewhere where no chance of getting out of the lake.
Yeah. Okay.
And we never see him again.
Yep. Strong
I
opinions.
had the same opinion about when he did it to Heath Slater on Main Event.
Okay. Yeah, for those who didn't see, Ryback, after the match, ended up smashing Ryder and throwing him into the back of the ambulance.
And driving off with him.
Yeah. Up next was back to the general thing for the Shield, a 6-man tag match.
Once again, these 6 put on an absolute clinic in the ring.
Yep.
I could watch Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins wrestle for hours and never get bored. I hope, against hope, that eventually those two have a singles feud in like a best of 7 situation. Because I would absolutely be glued to it. I'd buy any pay-per-view that had those two in it in that situation.
Okay. Yeah, it's generic sort of Shield taking on the 3 champions, but they pulled it off. Or the 3 guys they just took titles off. Yep.
Just another situation where the Shield ended up winning, but it was just an absolutely fantastic match. 22 minutes long, almost 23 minutes.
That's almost pay-per-view length.
That is longer than most pay-per-view matches.
True. Okay, well, The next segment was Caitlin's secret admirer. I think they proved it wasn't Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with this, but I have a bad feeling that it's going to be the Bellas. I have a really bad feeling about it.
Okay. I've still got no idea who I'm going to pick for it being.
I'm still holding out hope that it's Big E.
Don't know. WWE could do anything with this.
I'm still sad that WWE released Audrey Marie.
Yeah. Okay. Up next was I think it was the match that everybody voted for on the WWE app. Jack Swagger was taking on Randy Orton.
As if anybody was actually surprised by that result.
Nope. It was
I would have laughed though if the poll results would have said Collie. That would have just been funny as heck to me.
Yeah, it was an alright match.
And Swagger is now on his way back down. And he has no one to blame but himself.
Yep. He got given everything and then threw it all away.
3 days after being handed it.
Yeah. Okay, well, after that was the main event with Triple H and Curtis Axel.
I am very happy Triple H didn't win the match. That Axel got a little bit of a showing in on it.
Yep.
But obviously the focus point was on Triple H suffering the concussion from the night before. But I'm also happy that WWE gave Axel the credit for the win.
Yeah. He needed that win. If he'd have lost that, then
it would have completely wiped out anything that he would have gained from the re-debuting as Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
I will not. I had said last week that I thought that they would go through a storyline like this and try to have his best friends, his family, come in and try to beg him not to wrestle anymore. Yeah. And I have a feeling that's where they're going with this.
Yep.
And before we go, we'd like to send our well wishes to TNA superstar and wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, who is dealing with recovering from a burnt hand from an exploded radiator. We hope that everything heals well, and that he gets back at 100% soon.
Yep. As promised, here's the second half of that Amy St. Clair interview.
Do you get nervous before you go out to perform for the fans?
I always get nervous. It's the kind of thing. On my very, very first match, I was like, I couldn't stand still. I was jumping around out around the back. I couldn't stand still. It was a good way of warming up, but yeah, I couldn't stay still, and I wasn't freaking out, but I was just I was really, really excited. So it was like nervous excitement. But I still get nervous, just as nervous if anything. I need to go to the bathroom about 10 times before a match. But yeah, I'm not scared nervous anymore. Like, I'm more kind of just about how the match is going to go and how everything's going to turn out. So yeah, I still get very, very nervous.
Okay, well, for those who haven't seen you wrestle, is there anywhere they can catch you and see you wrestling? This Saturday, June 1st, at Wainuamata Memorial Hall, 7:30. I should be wrestling there. They've got a female tag going, and we also got over the top rope, so a Royal Rumble, and some IPW boys are coming down for that too, so that's going to be good. We're going to have
IPW champion Travis Banks there, and NZWW champion James Shaw there too.
Sweet.
So,
Okay, well, it's been great talking to you, Amy.
sweet, thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you guys talk to me.
Yeah, hopefully we see big things from you in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Well, that's all we have time for on this week. Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0. If you want the full Amy St. Clair interview, you can visit us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling R Radio. See you next week.